chicken.
Oh,
Chicken and elephants.
I went on a road trip through Botswana with 4 strangers with a guy I met off Facebook. So let me tell you how this went down. It's not as bad as it seems. Trust your gut. It's a phrase you hear often as a traveler, especially a solo traveler, and I feel like even more especially as a solo female traveler. But what exactly does that mean, trust your gut? How do we know when to trust our gut? Honestly, I don't always find it easy to trust my gut. I tend to second guess myself. I can gaslight myself. Trusting your gut is basically trusting your instincts. Your instincts are telling you whether or not this situation that you're about to enter is safe or not. So it's really about trusting your instincts, which I guess kind of evolve out of your gut. You know that gut feeling you get when something just totally doesn't feel right? That's what you need to listen to. And the exact opposite as well. When something just feels so good, your gut will also be your instinct in telling you that this is a really good situation. Let's go for it. Let's do it. And this was the case for my trip to Botswana. Basically, I was volunteering at a horse safari lodge in South Africa, and although I absolutely loved every second of being there, I still had this nagging feeling that I wanted more of an adventure. I wanted to be out exploring and seeing Africa, and one of my long-standing dreams, which I still haven't really officially done yet, is overlanding Africa. And while staying at this lodge, they had this really beautiful campsite that attracted a lot of overlanders coming in and out. And while working there, I kind of was hoping that maybe someone would adopt me and just take me on their trip. Sadly, that never came to fruition. Since nobody adopted me on their overlanding trip, my plan B was that I had gone on some Facebook groups, some Facebook overlanding groups for Africa, but I had posted that I had wanted to go on an overlanding trip through Africa, starting in South Africa, and I could meet them anywhere and financially support myself, whatever. And basically I made a post saying if anybody had room in their car for one extra person, I was available to join. Definitely a long shot, because I mean, having a random stranger join you on your, overlanding trip in your car, your personal space, you don't know this person. There's so many reasons why people would say no to this, and I get it. And lo and behold, I got no response. So cut to like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I was fiddling around on my phone, and I just happened to notice that I had a Facebook message request from this guy named Peter. And I opened it, and Peter had organized basically a road trip through Botswana for 1 month, approximately, and that he had space in his car. I immediately was like, oh my god, is this it? Is this my opportunity, my chance to do this? And so, he gave me more of the information, well, including him, 4 people total. It was a couple from England who were around my age, and one of them was into photography, which I also am into photography, and another young woman from Sweden, also my age. So basically all of my boxes were checked, which is not a lot of scrutiny here, but I basically was like, okay, they're my age, they like photography, and it wasn't a massive group of people. So check. Yeah, I'm in. So yeah, I kind of immediately said yes to the trip. I did try to research Pete himself and his company, and he didn't have a lot of online presence, which normally that would be a red flag for me. Like, normally I want to read reviews, I want to know that everybody had a great time, I want to know what I'm getting myself into via reviews, which I kind of rely on heavily as a solo traveler. But there was none. He has an Instagram page, but it wasn't really upkept. Same with his Facebook page. So I was like, well, that's kind of a red flag, but I'm really still not getting any kind of deep gut feeling that says, don't do this. Basically, yeah, I said yeah. And I did it. I went on this 30-day road trip around Botswana with 4 strangers, and like I said, an absolute fantastic time doing it. You know, there's two ways that this could go. I could meet these people and be absolutely miserable. Maybe we won't connect for whatever reason, maybe they're super annoying. But given the fact that we were in a similar age range and that they liked photography, I kind of had a good feeling about that. I know there's not a lot of information to go by, but that's kind of what we went by. And you know what? The second I met them, I was like, this is gonna be great. Like, we got along really well, very similar sense of humor, very similar interests, very similar lifestyle, and like they were totally up for any kind of adventure, which I just loved that. But fortunately, it went in the best possible direction. So yeah, for 5,000 miles around Botswana, it was just an amazing adventure. We camped everywhere, so every day it was kind of like setting up camp, taking down camp, setting up camp, taking down camp, but I loved it. You would think that would get exhausting over time, constantly setting up and breaking down your tent, but no, it was always fun. We encountered so many wild animals, from elephants to monkeys, baboons or something. I think they were monkeys. Ransacked our tents while we were away on day safari. We came back and they had just torn into everything, everybody's tent, all ripped up. We did everything we could to keep everything in bins and under lock and key, but they still got into the tents and they still ripped everything up. We saw so many just like magical animals and dreamy landscapes, and one of my absolute favorite places was Elephant Sands National Park. And that was a place, it's this campground that's kind of built around a watering hole, and it attracts just these elephants. Elephants just all day long, they wander in and then they have some drink and then they wander out, and it's just the coolest place to just sit and watch elephants. And they had this in-ground pool where we would chill for the day and swim and, you know, have snacks, have a couple drinks here and there, but it was just so cool. And just seeing the night sky at night, and we saw a pack of wild dogs run through. It was just so cool. And wild dogs, if you don't know, are pretty rare to see in southern Africa, because they're basically endangered. But yeah, it was so cool to see a whole pack of them. And so if you watch my other video about Bounty and living in the Kalahari, this is how I ended up there. It was one of our first stops along this trip. The Norwegian girl who was with us had been there previously and spent some time there, so she really wanted to go back to their new site, which is where we went to. And I, if you watch the other video, just absolutely fell in love with the area because it was so wild and so untamed, and that is always what I'm looking for. I want to be off the grid and I want to be totally wild, and that's what it was. And so I wanted to experience that, even just a little glimpse of it. So even if it was for that 1 month, I just wanted to experience it, and I did, and one of the best experiences of my life. So you know, I became friends with an ostrich. Botswana is a country that was never really like high on my list of places to go. So it's kind of random that I ended up going there and then living there. I couldn't have asked for a better experience. But yeah, Botswana. Check it out. And this trip only happened because I decided to go with my gut feeling that this was going to work out in the best possible way. If I couldn't trust those feelings, I would have never have had these experiences. And that's what life and travel is all about, experiences. So pay attention to those red flags and definitely those green flags.